p.m., the worldwide leader in sports presents exclusive coverage of the $50 million NHRA Powerade Drag Racing Series. Today, from the motor racing capital of the world, Indianapolis, we're beginning final eliminations for the 49th run of the Mac Tools U.S. Nationals, and what a difference a week makes. 7 inches of rain on Labor Day, a 108-year-old record just shattered. But now sunny skies, and we're getting ready with 75-degree temperatures. We're glad you're with us here for round 17 of the NHRA Powerade Drag Racing Series. Let's go to Bill Stevens.
One of the big stories here at Indy this year, the return of 2-time Top Fuel champion Scott Coletta, qualified number 2 with a career best 450. But look at the ladder. Clay Millican, who Scott would have raced, didn't come back to Indy. Scott will get a bye. And he's also on the same side of the ladder with his cousin Doug, who's trying to chase down Larry Dixon for the championship. Scott makes no bones about it. If he races Dougie in the semifinals, he'll do the right thing, guaranteeing Dougie a free ride to the finals. Marty?
We talk about this being the largest race of the year. It can give you the most emotional high or rip your guts out. And it can happen anywhere between 4 and 7 seconds.
Indianapolis is the center of the motorsports universe. Just 7 miles east of here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, home to the U.S. Grand Prix, the Brickyard 400, and the Indy 500. Here at Indianapolis Raceway Park, they have a 15-turn road course, a short oval, and on the other side of this media center, a drag strip. But this 1,320 feet is unlike any other on the NHRA Tour because it is home to the U.S. Nationals, a place steeped in tradition and history, a place where legends are born. And a racer's resume is not complete unless they've won here at Indy.
And right on the starting line, Paul Romine in the right lane, Darrell Russell in the left lane, the numbers 8 and 9 qualifiers as the U.S. Nationals is underway. Oh, and Romine strikes the hides. And Darrell Russell, a very clean 462, 317 miles an hour to take the win here in the opening round over Paul Romine. Take another look at Paul. He had qualified with a career best 456, but this one didn't last very long.
Yeah, this is a tough break. You're going to see smoke the tires, and immediately after that, you're going to see some serious engine damage here. But Paul Romine, that is a tough break because that car was running very, very well in qualifying. Darrell Russell, on the other hand, made a nice pass. I think they did just what they wanted. Crew Chief Wayne Dupuis ran a 456 yesterday in the last qualifying session. Came back with a 462 for the first round. Nice pass.
Take a look at the ladder now. Arrow indicates who has the lane choice here in the opening round. Some great matchups, especially as we look further down. Kenny Bernstein possibly hooking up with Larry Dixon in a battle of the beer wagons. And there are the Colettas over on the right side of the equation. So glad you're with us here for the 49th running of the Mac Tools U.S. Nationals. The weather, as we said, perfect. You know, they pumped 150,000 gallons of water out of this facility. I don't know where they put it, but somebody said the cows were doing the backstroke across the way.
Yeah, it's amazing the amount of rain we got last week, but I tell you, the weather conditions are perfect. Lane choices are going to be a factor because the track is smooth as it can be. We saw some great runs yesterday. Sun's out. We're going to see probably a little bit of tire smoke in the later rounds, but I mean, it's still very, very good. We're still going to see some good racing.
Well, let's hear from Darrell Russell. He survived first round. He's with Bill.
Darrell Russell, already a U.S. Nationals champion in the alcohol classes, and how big would it be to tack on a Top Fuel title out here?
It'd be the ultimate thrill, let me tell you. This was tough. You know, this rain out, we had to come out here again and make our 5th qualifying lap. Struggle the first couple of them, finally started getting it back together. But man, I tell you, it's good to get that first round under your belt. I just hope we get lane choice for the next round. I don't think it's going to play a big factor, but every advantage at Indy sure helps. But thanks to Matco Tools, Valvoline, Keystone, all the guys that are helping us put this thing together. Thanks.
A couple of good qualifying runs yesterday. It was a good springboard for that 462 out here.
And Darrell will match up with the winner of David Baca and Mitch King, still to come. Right now, back to the starting line. Corey McLenithan in the left lane. Rhonda Hartman-Smith over in the right. There's the biography on Corey's U.S. Nationals. You know, he was #1 qualifier here last year with a 455. Do you know that would have put him 7th in this year's field?
Pretty amazing how the teams have stepped up the performance this year, but the track, I tell you, is in great condition. And Corey looked very, very good in qualifying. Crew Chief John Stewart's done a good job. They made the first 3 runs between a 455 and a 459. They elected to sit out last night's session. They are on a little bit of a tight budget, but they feel confident that they have a good combination. And I got to agree. I mean, the car's been going down the track pretty consistently, but Rhonda Hartman, she hasn't looked bad either. In qualifying, she's got a pair of 463s to go with a 459, so it's not going to be any easy race for either one of these drivers.
Rhonda makes the quickest field ever in Top Fuel history here, coming off of a DNQ a few weeks back at Brainerd. So a good turnaround for the Fram Top Fueler. Last time these two matched up, round one at Sonoma, and Rhonda beat Corey. Oh, Corey's in trouble, and Rhonda does it again. A 461 at 310 miles an hour. You can see the engine damage on Corey's car as Rhonda puts Corey on the trailer, and this is 4 straight events where he has lost in the first round.
Well, in the beginning of time, there was no other race other than the Nationals, Indy. It's the one race that every racer wants to win.
It's the most important. It's the biggest race of the year. And you go to Indy and for one reason. And after you've been there for that many days, if you don't win, you're disappointed.
Indy just has another level. I think it's just because of trying to add your name to the list of people that have won that race. And because so many people try to qualify, it's going to be harder.
Back here at the 49th running of the Mac Tools U.S. Nationals. It's first round of funny car competition. We've had some surprises. Tony Pedregon not only lost first round, he lost a chance for a $50,000 bonus to double up. A payday that could have been about $250 grand if he would have won everything with contingencies. Now he's hoping Brother Cruz can keep Whit Bazemore from cutting into his 57-point lead.
Well, the good news is I agree with Parker. There's no difference in lane choice. We just saw Tim Wilkerson run 482 in that right-hand lane. Obviously, the conditions are very good. Gary Sheldy actually dropped the cylinder. That's why his car fell off. Lee Beard saw that run ahead of him. Now, they run the cars a little bit differently, so he's probably not as concerned about that, but he definitely wants to get this thing down the racetrack.
These guys have won 5 U.S. Nationals between them. Let's quickly go to Bill.
Tim Wilkerson, your radio has already informed you of your career best speed, but you just put out the fire of one of the hottest guys out here lately.
Well, there's no doubt about that. That old car's a tough dog, and that Dodge, man, them guys they're a tough deal to fight with. But you know, the LRS Pontiac, they're here to race too. We're not here just to lay over. And I'm sure they were as nervous about racing me as I was about racing them, believe me. But hey, next round, Indy, it's a big dog. We're here to win the race. Bottom line. Thanks.
Everybody's bottom line today.
We always talk about the points. I guarantee you right now, Whit Bazemore is thinking about one thing: winning the round. You want to win the U.S. Nationals. But just to let you know, if he wins this round, the lead is cut to 37. It's going to be close. The win light to Cruz Pedregon. A 488 with a 7 to a 488 with a 6. Cruz was first off the line. An 061 light to an 069. And Tony Pedregon is still alive. Parker.
I'm with Lee Beard. Lee, the window of opportunity to take a big chunk out of Tony Pedregon's lead just closed on you.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's very disappointing. The door was wide open for us. But hey, you know, this is America, the land of opportunity, and Cruz Pedregon took advantage of it.
Marty?
By 1/1000th of a second, the whole shot victory. The margin at the other end, 7/1000th of a second.
Boy, Marty, what can you say? This was still just a great old drag race. Cruz Pedregon had 0.08 of a second off the starting line, ran 1,000 slower. That's a 7,000 difference at the finish line. But what can you say? Both drivers had good lights. I think they both did their job, kept the car stuck in the middle of the course. Basically, Rob Flynn won this race. Tuner had a little bit better tune-up than Lee Beard at this particular time, but what a great side-by-side drag race.
Remember, Cruz Pedregon did not even make the field until the 5th and final qualifying run yesterday, and boy, that was hot, straight, and normal. Let's go to Bill.
Whit Bazemore has just exited the Matco Tools Iron Eagle, and as you can tell, he knows what happened, and what can you say, Whit?
Well, the only thing you can say is that Cruz Pedregon is a better race car driver today than Whit Bazemore is. 61 to 69 light, you know. Did the best we could, and the whole team did. I just, you know, there's nothing to say. It's just, you know, it's the way it goes.
It's been a reoccurring theme, guys. Every time Tony Pedregon has opened the door this year, it seems like Whit has not been able to walk through it.
Yeah, I think when we look back on this season, Bill, you're right. About 4 or 5 opportunities have gone by the boards where Whit could have either made up a ton of ground or even taken the points lead. Right now, we go back to the starting line and talk about hole shots. Frank Pedregon doesn't have to worry so much about it, but the other guy in the other lane sure does. Tommy Johnson Jr. lost the finals here last year on a hole shot, lost yesterday on a hole shot. It's going to be a nightmare for him if he keeps it up.
Yeah, it's definitely got to be in the back of his mind. But TJ's a good driver. I mean, he just, you know, he's going to have to focus because Frank Pedregon was very good on the lights a couple of weeks ago in Brainerd. The car's running pretty good.
TJ said not this time. He was first off the line and first to the stripe. A 490 at 307. You saw Frankie go up in smoke. Let's go to Bill.
Cruz Pedregon, you have had some great U.S. Nationals moments. That's my choice for just another one.
Well, that's great. You know, that's a good team over there. And, you know, people were talking about us helping Tony in the points, and we did what we needed to do. But this is for Advanced Auto Parts in Quaker State and the crew. We've had a pretty trying weekend here, but hey, it's great, man. It's anybody's race out there right now. Qualifying looks good on paper, but when you get out here and it's warm like this, it's whoever can make the right calls, and my guys made the right calls.
A little special beating Whit, though.
Well, it always is. I mean, they're a good team and they're competing for a championship, but yeah, it's good to be with.
Thanks, Bill. As TJ is coasting on behind you there, Ron Capps is getting ready. TJ in his 200th NHRA event. Capps against Scotty Cannon when we come back. Back here at the Mac Tools U.S. Nationals, and normally we'd be showing you a shot from high above on the Sanyo lightship, but obviously because of the 1-week rain delay, the lightship had other commitments, and so well, this is about the highest shot we're going to be able to get for you, quite frankly, folks. The rain really wreaked havoc. I still can't get over 150,000 gallons they pumped out of here just so they could get everybody back in to the parking lots and to the pits. As we get ready for Ron Capps and Scotty Cannon, let's go to the far end again to Bill.
Well, pardon me for asking this, but they pay me a lot of money to ask the tough questions. A whole shot loss on your mind there on that one with Frankie?
Well, you know, I mean, I've lost a couple of them. I've been close. One of them I screwed up, and one of them was real close. Just came out on the short end. Like Bazemore yesterday got me on one close. He got bit by it today. So it's a tough game. Got to be on your toes. And the Skull Blue team's been working really hard, running really good. And I just got to do my job and try and do it well. And you know, last year I lost on a whole shot here in the Final Four. So I'd like to repay him the favor later on today.
He's had a whole year to think about it.
And he's going to get another round to forget about it one more time. Scotty Cannon hasn't won a round here since 1999 in any. There's Ron Capps. We talked about him winning the Bud shootout last year and then losing in round 1. Oh, Cannon came oh so close to the line, but he holds on. 490, 311 miles an hour to a 492. So Selzy is gone. Bazemore is gone. Scotty Cannon is the last hope for Don Schumacher's team.
Yeah, boy, Scotty Cannon was doing some driving on this run on the left side of your screen, like you said, right towards the finish line. I think got real close to the center. When he launched the car made a right turn right over there towards the wall. He reels it back in, keeps it stuck in the groove, and then it probably put a cylinder out on the other end and moved it over towards the center line, but he still had enough momentum to finish just ahead of Ron Capps.
And Parker has checked in with Tony Pedregon.
Down in Tony P's pits. Tony, yesterday $100 grand, today eliminated from the U.S. Nationals, but Brother Cruz helped you dodge a big bullet with regards to the championship.
Yeah, the remaining cases of Budweiser that I won from yesterday are going right to Cruz's pit right now. Happy that he was able to win for himself, but at the same time, he did us a big service by taking Bazemore out of there. And we still we're going to stay in test. We need to get this car to get back to where it was because we didn't lose a whole lot of ground. So there is a flip side to this. We come out of it with something that's not a big, deficit like we kind of thought. We thought he'd take advantage of it. They haven't done it yet. So once we recover, I think we're going to be fine.
Marty? Well, what you better be careful of, Tony, is a guy by the name of John Force. You're going to lead here by 57, but Force, if he can win this race, could cut it down quite a bit. and could become a factor once again in the championship chase. As we get ready for Phil Burkhardt and Johnny Gray, more on them in a moment. Let's go to the far end of Bill.
Scotty Cannon receives congratulations from Ron Capps. And Scotty Cannon, you've been rocking lately.
Well, you know, we got old Stewie over there from the NBA car. They went out first round. He's been helping us out. But I'd like to thank Jim Bernard, Oakley. Hey, all the boys back home. Shoot them. A first round win for us, about like a final. But you know, it's always a pleasure racing no run. We're good racers, no games. It's tough. I knew I had to go, but I think this thing had a holdout. Man, it was a beast.
We'll talk to Ron in a second.
You're looking there at Johnny Gray, the number 9 qualifier. Phil Burkhardt ran a career best 481. It got him into the number 8 spot. That's how tough this funny car field. The quickest ever in NHRA Powerade history. Johnny Gray in a hole shot, 491 to the quicker, but losing 487. You see the reaction time difference, almost 4/100ths of a second.
And you're right, Marty, 4/100ths of a second for Johnny Gray, and he needed it because, remember, these are team cars, both under the Del Worsham banner there, and you can see right at the other end, Johnny Gray dropped cylinder just for the finish line, but he still had enough to finish just ahead of Phil Burkhardt by that much.
And Johnny's going to have lane choice on his second hole shot win of the year. Let's go to the far end. There's Bill.
We wanted to talk to Ron Capps, a 3-time Budweiser shootout winner, and yet the big prize here keeps eluding you, Ron Capps. Another disappointment.
Yeah, not that we're overlooking Scotty because they're a tough team, but we're pretty confident. We're down the track. Todd did a great job. Skull guys. It left the starting line, and I could only hear him, and it got out about 300 or 400 feet, and he jumped out there. And we kind of stayed that way. And all of a sudden, my clutch came in. The car just started reeling him in. I thought, oh, here we go. And then just stayed that way. And he stayed out the window. And, you know, it's unfortunate. It's good. He hasn't had a round win in a long time. And I know how that feels. But we got a hot rod again. And I wanted to get back in the game, at least get a mitt and get back in the game. But I feel like I'm back, you know, we'll be good and ready.
Another driver who wishes the drag strip were 500 feet longer.
Oh, how many times have we said that? Take a look at the matchups for round 2. Johnny Gray with the lane choice over Force. Dencham, Wilkerson, Cruz, Pedregon also have the lane choice in round 2 of Funny Car. Stay with us. When we come back, it'll be time for the factory hot rods. That's right. Pro Stop when we return to Indy.
Me, Indy, it means the ultimate race as far as the NHRA Tour is concerned. It's our Indy 500, Daytona 500 from the other forms of racing. It's the race that you have to win.
All the best drag racers in the world come to that drag race. When you win that race, you've won the best, you know, the best race against the best of the best.
Seasons can be salvaged, you know, with a good time at Indy and a good win.
It's the Daytona, it's the Super Bowl, it's the World Series, it's the biggest race of the year.
I don't know. I think the Super Bowl is the U.S. Nationals of football. How's that? Does that put it in perspective for you? Take a look at the ladder for Pro Stock. Arrow indicates who has the lane choice here in the opening round action as we take a look at Pro Stock specs.
Well, let's talk about Pro Stock specs. The minimum weight is 2,350 pounds with the driver. Wheelbase 105 inches. Engine maximum allowed is a 500 cubic inch, normally aspirated on racing gasoline, and they'll produce over 1,250 horsepower.
And we get ready now for our first matchup. And Jason Line, one of 3 rookies to make this Pro Stock field. And remember, we sent 30 guys home. 46 tried to qualify. 3 rookies, including Jason, made the field. He's in the number 9 spot up against Mike Edwards right there.
I can remember my first Indy. I guarantee he's got some butterflies because this is a big race. But we'll see what kind of job he does here. Mike Edwards, one of the best drivers in the business.
Oh, so close, but Jason gets his first round victory. And team owner and partner, Greg Anderson smiles at that. Jason runs 684 to a 687. Parker?
Marty, I've caught up with Gary Scelzi, whose trademark mustache had a run-in with a hedge trimmer, it looks like, Gary. But the bigger question is, you guys were on top of the world last weekend, left your number 1 qualifier, you came back. It looks to me like there was a big change in momentum.
Well, not really. I mean, first of all, I got up at 4 in the morning to leave to come back to Indy, and somebody put a Hemi in my mustache trimmer, and it got away from me, so we lost the mustache. But really, the Oakley Dodge is still fast. It definitely had to have an ignition problem or something stupid happen. The car's been good all weekend. We ran 76 against Force in qualifying, ran 82 last night or 83. I mean, it's okay. The momentum's not changed. It's a letdown because this is the U.S. Nationals. But let me tell you something. I guarantee that the people still don't want to park next to this thing.
And Marty, tomorrow in the Indianapolis Star, the headlines might read, Gary Scelzi's sizzle fizzled with the drizzle.
I'm not going to touch that one. I'm surprised he isn't shaving you. Taylor.
Easy for him to say, huh?
Yeah. Taylor Laster and that man right there, Gene Wilson. There's Taylor. He's another one of the 3 rookies. He has raced here at Indy in Pro Stock Truck before. And, of course, Richard Maskin, the man who works in his engine program, won here with Jake Coughlin back in 2000.
And Taylor Laster, like you said, with Richard Maskin horsepower, Dick Maskin knows how to make horsepower in a Pro Stock engine. But I'll tell you, they're up against Gene Wilson over there out of the Larry Morgan camp. Have Bob Glidden over there helping on both Larry Morgan's and Gene's car. Really have turned that program around. They have been looking very, very good the last few races.
Yeah, both those Dodges are in the final 16. I still can't get over how we had 46 guys trying to qualify for Pro Stock.
That's amazing. I mean, that means 30 of them guys had to go home, but it's the U.S. Nationals, and that's why it is the U.S. Nationals, because everybody wants to win.
Well, and a couple of them even recorded career bests, and they went home. Laster with the advantage. But the win light to Gene Wilson. He drives around him a 684 at 201 miles an hour. Let's go to Bill.
Jason Line. Jason gets his first win in a Pro Stock car, and I know what everybody else in the class is saying. Great. Now 2 of those guys going rounds.
Well, that could be, but I guess it just gives testament to how good everybody on the team really is. It certainly has nothing to do with the driver. So I'm just glad I made it through, getting off to a better start than the last time. So very happy.
Yeah, first round of Columbus, he flipped, but this time he's flipping the good way.
Absolutely, Bill, and he'll be in the second round against either Kurt Johnson or Troy Coughlin. That matchup still to come. Getting ready now for our 3rd rookie, Dave Conley over in the right lane. There's Bill Grumpy Jenkins, and there is Grumpy's toy in honor of Bill's efforts in the sport of drag racing. The young 20-year-old Dave Conley carrying the colors. Of course, Grump won here in Superstock in 1967. He'll be up against Ron Krischer, the man who held the track record, #1 qualifier here last year. Not so this year.
Marty, how do you like to be 20 years old, and not only are you running the U.S. Nationals, but you're also running it in Bill Jenkins' Grumpy's toy replica of his 1970 Pro Stock car? I mean, that talk about some pressure, but this kid's good. He's done a good job so far this year. Let's see what happens.
I just want to be 20 again.
Don't we all?
Two good lights. And the win light to Krischer. 683 at 201. A 685, and unfortunately for Bill Grumpy Jenkins and Dave Conley, they're on the trailer heading home. Let's go again to Bill.
Gene Wilson is an NHRA champion. You've won some big races, but you've never won this race, and it's the biggest of them all. How you feeling today?
I tell you what, I woke up this morning and I felt real good. I looked outside, beautiful day. My track's in great shape. My guys, you know, they're on their game. I've got an awesome car, and I want to go some rounds today.
We'll be watching. Parker?
Down in Dean Scusa's pits, the car's been here about 20 minutes. Everything has come apart and, in fact, is going back together now. The block the same, but they have rebuilt the pistons in that new rings. New pistons have gone in, new connecting rods. They're being connected to the bottom of the crank. The clutch has been serviced and is about ready to go back in. Inside the trailer, they're working on the supercharger outside cylinder heads. Don Scusa, crew chief, says it takes about 40 minutes for this team to get turned around unless they're changing injection nozzles. Then you can add another 10. Marty?
Thank you, Parker. And there you see the team mixing the fuel, getting ready. As we go back to Pro Stock action, Warren Johnson, 28 times he has qualified here at the U.S. Nationals. But it has been a struggle this weekend for the professor. He has not been as consistent as we are used to seeing him.
He's usually on the starting line. He's been very aggressive, getting a lot of tire spin early and really losing some time and actually having to shut off on a couple runs.
Larry Morgan in the other lane. You've already heard how Bob Glidden has helped turn around both his program and Gene Wilson's. Gene's advanced. What about Larry? Larry with an 018 light. And the professor is out of here in a hole shot. It's Larry Morgan, 683, 200 miles an hour to the quicker, but losing 682 at 202.
Wow, a little bit of an upset here. WJ looked like he hit it pretty good, had a 101 and 60 feet. But Larry Morgan was 1 second flat in 60 feet, so a little bit better. You see him, problem he's been having, a little bit aggressive. When he pulled second gear, the car made a little bit of a move over towards the wall. And that and the hole shot cost him the race.
Second year in a row, WJ's lost here on a hole shot, and 5th this year. That's Scotty Cannon's crew getting ready for round 2. We're into pro stock, and on the line, Jim Yates went to the finals last year. He'll be up against Steve Schmidt. And Schmidt, one of the big surprises here, makes great horsepower. 683 qualified, lives right here in Indianapolis. To Yates, 683 at 201. Steve Schmidt at 686 at 200 miles an hour. Let's check in again with Bill.
Ron Krischer, you've had some tough times here at the U.S. Nationals, but you're on to the second round.
Well, we're hoping this year this thing will give us something back. We've kind of got hurt a couple years and got our feelings hurt pretty bad, so we'll see if we can make something up.
Larry's doing play-by-play over here. You just beat Warren Johnson on a hole shot, and thanks to you, he won't talk to us. But good for you.
What a way to make a guy mad on Sunday.
Yeah, I can tell you're just filled with regrets.
Kind of like you this morning.
Yeah. Larry passed me on the highway and almost put me in the ditch, but all's well that ends well.
Well, let Larry know by 1/1000th of a second he's going to have lane choice over Jim Yates in round 2 action. Time now for Greg Anderson, the points leader. At the U.S. Nationals, you see his record. Greg's going to be in the left lane. George Marnell will be over in the right lane. And it has not been the kind of season for George Marnell. Last year, he was the points leader going into his home event at Las Vegas. This year, boy, he can't buy a win. He's only had 1-round victory all season long.
Well, and that just goes to the development of a lot of the other teams towards the end of last year. They started finding more horsepower, and boy, it's really easy to get behind in pro stock. Like we've talked about all along, it's very, very competitive. When you talk about thousandths of a second making the difference between winning and losing.
And let me correct myself. Marnell is looking for his first round win of this year. Drought is going to have to continue as Greg Anderson goes low for the round. 678 at 202, so he's just thrown down the gauntlet to Kurt Johnson, Jake Coughlin, and everybody else. Let's go back to Bill.
Jim Yates went to his first Indy final last year, come up short to Jake Coughlin, and you're watching some of the performance out here. You going to have enough for everybody else today?
Oh, I think a lot. We had a lot left on the table. We had to make some changes last night. Ricky changed the tires on the car and did some other things. Seemed to run pretty good down track, a little weak in low gear, but, this track's a lot hotter than it was yesterday, so we're going to take a little bit to get used to it. Got a new team coming together up there. Ricky's added a lot to the program, and him and Jamie are doing a great job getting the car down the track.
Ricky Smith on any team makes it better.
And it still seems hard to believe all those years that he has been here, he has never won this event. Maybe today. Time now to check in with Kurt Johnson and Troy Coughlin. Kurt, for back-to-back races now on pole, trying to whittle away at the points lead of Greg Anderson. Troy Coughlin, the number 16 qualifier, going to try and upset the pole sitter.
Yeah, Kurt Johnson just saw Greg Anderson go down the lane right in front of him at a 678. He's got to be thinking about that because, he hasn't been as inconsistent as his father, but he has made some runs too where both him and his dad are very aggressive on the setup early, and they do tend to get into some tire spin every now and then. It seems like they don't like to blow through the clutch because it doesn't seem like they do that too often, but I'll tell you, Kurt's been running very, very good, but Troy Coughlin, he's been doing pretty well lately here too.
Well, Troy has seen brother Jeg win from the number 16 spot. maybe he can do it. He won here in Super Gas at Indy back in 1991. Of course, Kurt has 2 U.S. national wins in Pro Stock already in the bag. Here we go, opening round action in Pro Stock. A little bit of a staging duel. Red light Troy, he took a shot, came up short. Kurt goes 681 at 202. That's Jed Coughlin Sr. He knows the bad news already. And Kurt Johnson keeps pace. And let's go to the man he's chasing. He's at the far end with Bill.
With the man who so many times this year has been low qualifier and low for the round, and you did it again. A 678, Greg Anderson. Nice pass.
Yeah, thank you, Bill. That was definitely the best pass I made this weekend. We came back from last weekend's rainout, and honestly, we lost the tune-up a little bit, and it's taken these 4 runs to figure it out again, and looks like we got it now. If we can just maintain it the rest of the day, it should be a great day.
For them, yes. For everybody else, no.
Well put, Bill. On board with Jed Coughlin Jr. He'll be alongside of Alan Johnson. Remember the emotions we showed you at the beginning of the broadcast? That was Alan Johnson throwing his Powerade bottle. That was after he got beat by Jed Coughlin right here last year.
Good. 4 feet, you're on. Still look great.
There's Jed's record here at the U.S. National. Look at that round record. 11 up, only 2 down. Both these guys are good at nailing the tree. Jeg has already lit the top bulb. And Allen finally pulls in. Oh, a 001 light for AJ. And the win light to Jeg. 681. 201.
201.16.
He gave up 3 100s off the line and drives around Alan Johnson. Alan can't do anything else.
I mean, Alan definitely did his job on the tree. 1,000ths of a second for perfect. That's 2,000 from red lighting and giving the race away. But I'll tell you, Jed Coughlin with the horsepower on the other end was able to get by. He needed it because Alan Johnson was out there in front for quite a while. But right at the other end, Jed Coughlin drives by. 11,000 difference at the finish line right there.
300ths difference off the tree. I wouldn't have believed it. But there's the margin at the stripe. Let's go to Bill.
Here with Kurt Johnson, and we're watching the points race. You're the only guy that can catch Greg Anderson right now, but it has become so tight out here that you even watch each other's elapsed times round by round. He had you by a little bit that time.
All I watch is win lights.
Well, we know better than that, but 300ths, that's kind of a little disconcerting, isn't it?
Yeah, we've been running right with Greg all weekend. The AC Delco Cavalier made a good run to qualify #1 on Friday night, but we run 81. We'll go back, look at the computer. It may have been soft. Who knows? The driver might have screwed up. I don't know.
Let's go to Parker.
Kenny Bernstein has just completed the warm-up of his Budweiser Top Fueler. They got this car turned around in just over 40 minutes. Really, the big question as he goes into the second round of eliminations against Larry Dixon is how much to back this car off. The temperature is going up. Track conditions will become more tricky, but you can't back it off too much, especially when you're going against Dick LaHaye. And as we've seen recently, this Budweiser team has just gotten better and better as this team not in contention for the championship, but certainly now in contention for round wins and hopefully another U.S. national win.
Thanks, Parker. We're taking a look right now at the ladder for Pro Stock. You see the arrow indicates who has the lane choice. Let's go again to Bill.
It was 1 year ago. Let's see, the semifinals, and Jiggy put on both bulbs, and Alan Johnson lost in a hole shot, and you were thinking about that this year, and you just put a 001 light on the Christmas tree, Alan, and he still drove around you.
Yeah, we made a good run. That right lane probably a little worse than the left, a couple hundreds, but I knew he's a great driver. I knew I had to do my job, so I did it. And still didn't work out, but this Mopar team will come back to life.
Jaggy, what was it like to see somebody leave on you for a change? Doesn't happen very often.
Well,
I obviously couldn't see it. I was pretty focused on my lane and had a little distraction up there. Car was just cutting up a little bit, but obviously the performance was there. When I let the clutch out, it responded. So that's number one, and we're fortunate to get by Alan. He's got a tough team over there, but we're happy for Chevy and Mac Tools and, of course, the folks at Jags.
Yeah, we've got another defending Indy champion still in the hunt.
Certainly do, and when we come back, we'll take a look at pro stock bike action here at the U.S. Nationals.
The U.S. Nationals is obviously the pinnacle of all drag racing, so definitely would like to win that.
Everybody wants to win Indy. It seems like you haven't excelled until you've won Indy, and it's such a long race. There's so many things involved, so if you can get through that race and end up in the winner's circle, you've done well.
And here at the Mac Tools U.S. Nationals, let's check the ladder for pro stock bike in the opening round. You can see number one qualifier, Angel Savoy. The arrow, as always, indicates who has the lane choice. And what about the specs in pro stock bike?
A little more involved with the two-wheel bikes here. 600 pounds of minimum weight with the rider for the Suzukis. The Kawasaki's and the Harleys get a little bit of a weight break. 575 is a minimum. The wheelbase is 70 inches. Now the engine's 2-valve, 1508 cc maximum, which is 92 cubic inches, 4-valve, 87 maximum cubic inches. The Harleys are allowed 200 cubic inches, but they only run 160. If they go from 160, and they did try to run 200 cubic inches, they add another 50 pounds of weight to the bike. But nobody at this point runs that big of a motor in the Harley.
Now let's show you the highlights from the opening round of Pro Stock Bike. First up was Gino Scali and Karen Stouffer. And get ready, because we're going to see a lot of this. Red lights. In fact, out of 8 races, 6 of them are going to be determined by foul. Scali gets out of it, goes through at a 789 at only 130 miles an hour. Second one, here is Reggie Showers. Craig Treble goes red. Showers runs a nice 723 at 181 miles an hour. Now get ready for a big snooze. Hello, Mr. Johnson, this is your wake-up call. Look at that light, a 630. To say the least, he lost. Then we go to the fourth pair. Angel Savoy, another foul. Mr. Schultz gives it away, a 721, though. I don't think he could have handled it even with a perfect light. 181 miles an hour for Angel. GT Tonglet next up on the Harley. Guess what? Blaine Hale goes red. And GT coasts on through at 8:37, but he's in to round number 2. Then it's Andrew Hines and Michael Phillips. And guess what? We've got ourselves a real drag race. And it's going to be Andrew Hines on the Harley, a 728 at 185 miles an hour, taking the win. Then we go right back into more red. Antron Brown, Mike Berry's going to be kicking himself. He gives away a 723. Antron goes 726, but he gets the win because of the red light. And then for the 6th time, Sean Gann as Chris Reuter goes red. So we had 6 red lights and Rip Van Winkle in the first round of Pro Stock Bike. Take a look at the ladder. Arrow indicates who has the lane choice. Savoy and Collis on the left side. Over on the right side, the lane choice will go to Antron Brown and Sean Gann. Stay with us. We're coming back to the Mac Tools U.S. Nationals. Back here at the Mac Tools U.S. Nationals, round number 2. And boy, I'll tell you, Scott Kalita is living large. Look out there on the track. That is Rhonda Hartman-Smith. She is out of the car. They are going to let Scott have another solo pass. He had a bye run in the first round. Here he goes again in round number 2 on his way to the semifinals. And he runs 4:56 at 327 miles an hour. So a potential showdown with Cousin Doug is just around the corner. That's a career best speed at 327.59 miles an hour for Scott Kalita. Parker?
I'm with a dejected Rhonda Hartman-Smith. What happened at the start line?
I had no center on the clutch, and so it was just continuing to roll. We don't have a clutch stop, and center's pretty easy to find, and I couldn't find it whatsoever. And obviously, we just had a clutch malfunction. It wasn't put together right, and just really disappointed that the Fram car couldn't run against Kalita. I mean, we were having a good day, a good weekend, and just really disappointed.
Strangest things happen here at the U.S. Nationals, Marty.
Well, Scott Kalita's living large. I mean, he hasn't faced a car yet in eliminations. Arrow indicates who has lane choice in the upcoming matchups, Baca and Larry Dixon. And then we've already seen Scott Kalita, and it will be up to Tony Schumacher to deny Doug Kalita a matchup with his cousin. Let's go to Bill.
This is like one big test session for you today. Another single and a career best speed, Scott, 456, 327.
Cool, boy. I tell you what, in a heat of the day like this, we'll take a 56 anytime, You hate to see somebody go out like that, and Hartman's a good family operation, but, we'll take it.
And let me just say right now, should you race your cousin in the semifinals, you have made it very clear that your job out here is to help him.
Yeah, that's for sure, but, we got to wait and see. I mean, we talked about it, and, if Larry makes it to the semis, it's going to be almost impossible for them to catch him, so we might just take the gloves off and go for it.
Ooh, little waffling here.
Well, I certainly hope so, because when you have two cars at a time out on the racetrack, that's what it's all about. Uh-oh, and we've got a problem. Look at Darrell Russell having trouble getting into reverse. The crew is running out to help push him back. Darrell's in that right lane. David Baca, the #1 qualifier, over in the left lane.
Looks like the same problem that Rhonda Hartman had. You heard her talk about getting the clutch in center. What that means is they push a pedal in. This is a centrifugal clutch. You can't disengage it. You have to kind of find a neutral spot where that pressure plate's not applying pressure against those discs. Otherwise, you can't get it in gear. I'm sure that was the problem that Rhonda had. Could be the same thing here. Even though he couldn't find neutral, they were able to back the thing back up. As long as it's not putting a load on that clutch, building too much heat, Darrell Russell should be all right. But if it does, good chance they'll smoke the tires.
Joe Amato right there. Their starter, Rick Stewart. He is coming to the line. He obviously can get it into forward and get it into gear, but not able to get it back up. So here we go. We are going to have a matchup here in second round action. Trouble. And Darrell Russell runs a 4:57, going to his first ever Indy semifinal, and he hasn't been to the semifinals this year since St. Louis, Parker.
Wayne Dupuis, you told me earlier today that you just didn't know what was going on with this hot rod, but it looks like you got it figured out.
Yeah, if we can get her in reverse here, but this old DZ Keystone Automotive Valvoline car, we got it thumping. We field stripped it the other night. I told the guys to the bare frame we're going to build a new car. 2:30 Friday morning, we did it, and it's paying off today.
But there was some tension there at the start. What happened with your car?
It didn't back up there, so we'll address that. It might have broke a washer in reverse, but hey, we got all those Matco tools. We'll fix her up.
Marty?
All right, thanks, Parker. As you can see, Darrell Russell climbing out of the car. Nothing for Baca's team to hang their head about.
It's the Super Bowl of racing. There's nothing bigger, and to be able to win that, to put that in your resume or to put that trophy up on your mantle, it's just something that you'll cherish the rest of your life.
Well, if you can't win the championship, to me, Indianapolis is the next best thing to it. It seems to be what people remember. They can never take things away from you when you've accomplished them. So if you happen to win Indy, they can say, that's the winner of the U.S. Nationals. It's always with you.
Back here at the 49th edition of the Back Tools U.S. Nationals, and one of those titanic matchups that we have to look forward to. Kenny Bernstein and Larry Dixon. Remember, this is a rematch of last year's great semifinal. Dixon won it on a hole shot. More on that. Let's go to the far end.
Well, Darrell Russell, your car won't back up, but it sure will go forward. 4:57. You almost matched your qualifying time, 4:56.
Well, all that matters is it goes in forward, right? We got the guys to push it back, but man, I tell you, it was a little nerve-wracking up there when it hit the handle and it wouldn't go in reverse. I don't know if the linkage broke or what, but thanks to David here for waiting on us. You appreciate the sportsmanlike conduct in that. And we're going to the next round. It's fun going around here at Indy.
David Baca, gracious in defeat.
Yeah, and as we said before the break, nothing to hang his head about. Got his first pole, ran a 4:49, first time ever done here at Indy. Take a look, wins by lanes, 8-2 right now. What do you think, Mike?
I think that's a little deceiving because we saw Scott Collette run 4:56 in the left lane, Darrell Russell 4:57 in the right lane. I think the lanes are pretty even, but just everybody's taking that left lane because maybe it's just a little bit better, but they're very, very close.
Dixon has beaten Bernstein at the last two U.S. Nationals. You better believe KB knows and is thinking about that. And both these guys trying to catch or pass Big Daddy Don Garlis on the top fuel win list. What better place to do it than right here? Oh, and Dixon's up in smoke, and so is Bernstein. And Dixon blows the motor in an effort to try and get it down the track. Bernstein wins the pedal job, 5:40. 547 to a 588. Parker.
It's Tim Richards. Tim, that was a heart stopper, a very big match today.
Yeah, you don't catch them smoking the tires very often. They're a very good team, very tough to beat, but Kenny is still a good driver. He's a good peddler, and he knows how to get it to the other end.
Marty?
Take another look. Two of the best drivers in the business, and this is a classic pedal job.
And this was a big surprise. I mean, Dick LaHaye and Larry Dixon smoked the tires right at the head of the throttle. Kenny Bernstein was able to drive down there a little bit further. Now, you're going to watch Larry Dixon over here. He tries to get back in it, but the engine just was probably over-revving a little bit, maybe burned an intake valve or something, and just fired all that fuel in the manifold. I had about 2 or 3 cylinders out, it looked like, and that probably just lit the fuel in the manifold and blew that supercharger up. You can see it right here. Kenny Bernstein smoked tires just a little bit after. He actually had a really good run. He went 219 to the 330. That thing was trucking pretty good. But right after that, that's when Kenny Bernstein started to get in trouble. Larry Dixon saw him in trouble, did his job, had to get back in it because he was still in the race at this point right here. It looked like he did a pretty good job starting to recover and started to pick the front end up, but then smoked tires again. Then it started mixing the cylinders up. By then, the day was all over because Kenny Bernstein was going through the lights.
And the reaction from Kenny Bernstein. Let's go to Bill.
Well, I guess we know now you can still drive.
Almost forgot how a few times, haven't I, huh? I hate it for winning that way, but winning's winning, and that's what it takes sometimes. Larry and that team and Fred Holmes' team is awesome, and they pull everything out of us to make it that way. So for Bud and Lucas, of course, we're tickled to death, and of course, it's the Mac Tool race, and hopefully we can put this away now.
The quickest side-by-side top fuel race in history was Dixon and Bernstein in Maple Grove a couple of years ago. That one wasn't.
Oh, but it was entertaining to watch.
You're right, Marty. Didn't have the big numbers on the board, but it definitely was fun to watch. The key advantage here was Kenny Bernstein went about 300 feet before he smoked the tires. Larry Dixon smoked about 60 feet. Did a decent job of getting him recovered. He was running the same mile an hour at the 8th as Kenny Bernstein, but he was about 0.4 of a second behind him. And with the cylinders out, he was never able to catch up.
And let's go to Bill.
With defending Powerade champion Larry Dixon, you know, you really haven't had to pedal a car very much because of Dick LaHaye lately, so you could be excused maybe for not being able to get around Kenny that time.
No, I mean, it's, you know, you're in the race until you're out of the race, and got the tire loose, and at that point, I mean, I couldn't see him, but you're trying to pedal it, get a hold of the track and get going again, and then I saw him pull the tires off, and it's just a pedal thing, and, you know, the motor got away from me and ended up, you know, knocking the rods out of it. But this is Indy. You got to try and win. Try and win anywhere.
Yeah, that's what compounds the disappointment.
Back at the starting line, you're now on board with Tony Schumacher in the Army of One. He'll be alongside of Doug Kalita. Schumacher, of course, the winner here last year. Let's talk a little bit about the points implications. We have pointed out that that man right there has to go 2 rounds further every single race from here on out to catch Larry Dixon. He did it last time out at Brainerd. He can go 3, actually, if he wins this one. More from Parker.
I asked Coletta crew chief Jim Oberhofer if he had cause for concern after watching Dixon and Bernstein go up and smoke, and he said, absolutely not. We're just taking our read off of what Scott's run looked like. We're going for it.
Doug's only semifinal Indy was back in 1998. Tony Schumacher, 452, 326.40 miles an hour. Doug Kalita goes 328.86. That's a new speed record. Sorry, Mikey, your old mark just fell.
Well, that's all right because this was a great side-by-side drag race. Neither of these teams let us down. I thought this was going to be a great matchup, and it was. Doug Kalita had 100th of a second off of the starting line. But I'll tell you what, Alan Johnson horsepower came by in the middle of the racetrack, and there it was, 16 thousandths of a second difference at the stripe.
And courtesy of Tony Schumacher, we will not know if there were team orders because lane choice will go to Darrell Russell over Kenny Bernstein and to Tony Schumacher over Scott Kalita.
As long as I can remember, they called it the Big Go, man. That was where everybody went and they got it on. And that was the guy that came out of Indy on Labor Day with the Wally. Was the man.
If you were going to win one race a year, that'd be the one to win.
You want to prove that you can win them championships. But Indy is like the big knockout. I mean, you knocked out Muhammad Ali. You did it all, and that's what's important in Indy.
Back here at the Mac Tools U.S. National, second round of Funny Car. Johnny Gray, Gary Dencham have the lane choice, as does Tim Wilkerson and Cruz Pedregon. As we get ready for John Force and Johnny Gray, there is the 12-time champion. For poor Johnny Gray, well, he's only beaten John 2 out of 12 times in their career, and this is going to be a tough task, but Gray does have lane choice.
Yeah, but once again, Marty, I don't think that's a big difference. But the one thing you have to remember, they have to keep it in the group. Seems like if they get out of the group, a lot more of a chance to smoke the tires.
John's in trouble. And Johnny Gray runs a 494.309 as Force smokes the tires. It almost looked like a carbon copy of the final yesterday in the Budweiser shootout, Parker.
With Mark Denner and Chris Cunningham. Guys, you're back. Congratulations.
Thank you. We had to redeem ourselves for the boss there. There's no way we're going to let him get around it. He can't get 2 cars. I mean, we did what we could. We're trying to do the best, and we'll keep it going.
Let's go back to Marty.
Johnny Gray going to his first ever semifinal here at the Big Go. And let's go to the far end. Put a period on Top Fuel, Bill.
Low ET round 1, low ET round 2. The sun is out, the car's trucking. You're looking a lot like you did last year.
Well, it's outstanding. I think we're looking a little better than we did last year. I mean, that was just a phenomenal run in the heat of the day, and that's what we proved yesterday, running that 55 early. We had some room. Ellen backed it down a little for that second run. I may have rolled in a little deeper just because that was going to be a tight race, man. I knew it was going to be a good one, but for the U.S. Army, for all the soldiers overseas fighting for our cause, for Gates Belts and Hoses and Matco Tools, more importantly, for the fans and for our family, all the people behind us, thank you guys very much. It's Indy, and let's try to win this one. Yeah!
Best car out here today, no debate.
So far, that's definitely a fact. Now we've got Tim Wilkerson and Scotty Cannon coming to the line, and Tim Wilkerson has the lane choice and has decided to go into the right lane.
Yeah, that is a little bit surprising, but Tim Wilkerson, I mean, he only qualified number 15. He only ran like 486, number 486 and a 487, but boy, that first round, 482 in that right-hand lane, they obviously liked what they saw. That's why they're sticking over there.
Well, let's find out as soon as Tim backs up here, and we'll get a chance to talk to him on the radio, and we'll show you the wins by lane. 5-4 in favor of the left, a little more even than in Top Fuel. Okay, now as they get ready to bring the body up. Tim, this is Marty Reed. Do you hear me?
Yeah, how you doing, Marty?
Well, most of the guys have been choosing the left lane with lane choice. You went for the right. Any reason?
We like the smoother.
All right, good luck. He thinks it's smoother.
And that is the fact that Lanny McGlinchey with Team Schumacher really looks these tracks over, and he felt that the left lane had a couple little extra bumps early in the run, but he said very, very marginally different. They're very, very close otherwise.
Scotty Cannon in the left lane has not been to a semifinal this year. Cannon's in trouble. And Tim Wilkerson's team made an excellent choice.
Looks like
you hear the team. 499, 305. Let's go to Bill.
Johnny Gray takes out the 12-time champion. I mean, everybody down here is speechless. What a run for you.
Yeah, you know, car just went down, and track's getting greasy. John's slipped a little bit, and we slid on down, but what can we say? You know, we'll take him Mac Tools, work on that CSK car, and see what happens in the next round.
Johnny will get his hand from John Force. We'll be back to Indy next.
Back to the business at hand. Tommy Johnson Jr., the sole remaining member of Don Prudhomme's camp, against Gary Dencham, the sole remaining member of Team Force. And remember, that's what it was a couple of weeks ago when we were in Brainerd. Dencham went on to win the race. Deja vu all over again, perhaps?
Well, I'll tell you, Gary Dencham's got a good shot at it. He ran low ET the first round with that 481, and Jimmy Croc seems to be starting to get a handle on this new Murphy McKinney car that they brought out in Denver. They struggled with a little bit, but he's starting to like it more and more. Getting, like I said, getting a little bit better handle on it. Just a little bit different, though.
Dencham has never been to the semifinals here at Indy. TJ, of course, was in the final last year, and there's Melanie Troxel, fiance to Tommy Johnson Jr. TJ's in trouble. And so is Gary. He coasts across the line. 573, as I don't know if he lost the blower belt. The car sounded terrible as it went past us. And you saw TJ have all kinds of tire smoke. Let's go to Bill.
Well, let's see here. So far, heading into the semifinals, there's only one eligible guy left who's won the U.S. Nationals. The other three haven't. You're one of them, Tim Wilkerson.
Well, I've been to the finals here once, and I gave it away to Obeys in '97, and we're just trying not to do that anymore. We're trying to get a consistent car here, and the old RS Pontiac is doing good. You know, the Mac Tool race, we're trying to show off a little bit, and my friend Gary Densham here, he just won. We got a deal. We're going to be in the finals again like we were at Brainerd, and he's going to soften up on me a little bit. I don't think he's going to do that. He just lies to me again.
If these two get to the final, we're guaranteed a first-time U.S. Nationals funny car champ.
Top fuel driver Melanie Troxel just watched her fiance lose in that right lane. But Melanie, you're not participating this weekend. You've just split from Western Rock. Interesting time of the season to split ways.
Yeah, it definitely is. I think, you know, that really for the team and myself, we decided that the best thing was for us to take the rest of the year, go out, look for the best opportunities for next year. So I'm talking to some teams, some sponsors, got a lot of irons in the fire. Hopefully I can put something together, you know, to really go out and run all of the events next year. That's the plan. So try to make the best of what's left of this season.
Melanie and TJ finally announced the date, guys. It's New Year's Eve this year that they'll be wed.
And we're not going to give away the location because we don't want to open up the floodgates. Time now for Cruz Pendragon and Dean Scusa. These guys have met 2 times in the last 4 races. Let's go to the far end, Bill.
Hey, doing the icky shuffle in there to get that win line.
Yeah, I tell you, we got a bit lucky on that one. Tommy and those guys over there are great, and thank God they had trouble before we did. But, you know, Jimmy Frank will have locked up for next round, and I got a lot of faith this Auto Club Portal. You know, go another couple more rounds, and Dad, keep it up, buddy. Thank you.
Hard to believe that until a couple of years ago, he had never won a round here at Indy.
Going to his first ever semifinal here. For these two guys, they both went to the semis last year. Scusa lost to Tommy Johnson. Cruz lost to John Force. And there you see Dean's record here at Indy over the course of his career. And, of course, Cruz has won this thing 3 times. Of a brand new funny car winner at the U.S. Nationals. The 500th Wally is going to be given out today, and it's going to go to somebody who has never won this event before because Cruz Pendragon was the only man left who had tasted victory in this class.
Wow, what a job by Brian Karate and the rest of that Scusa team. I mean, they did a great job here. Cruz had lane choice. He chose the right lane. The reason being, it was the only lane he'd been down the racetrack all week, and he made his last qualifying run yesterday down that lane. Oh, a little flash fire there before the end. Probably from the little bit of tire smoke that cost him the race in the middle, then backfired the supercharger. Tough break for him, but good job for Dean Scusa.
Lane choice to Johnny Gray over Gary Densham in the 1 semifinal, and to Dean Scusa by 9/100ths over Tim Wilkerson. We've got to take a break. Stay with us. We're coming right back to the Mac Tools U.S. National. Back here at the Mac Tools U.S. Nationals at Indianapolis Raceway Park, the motor racing capital of the world, Indy. And let's check in once again with Bill Stevens at the far end.
Well, it's Father and Son Day here at the U.S. Nationals. And Dean Scusa, I got to ask you, in the last qualifying session yesterday, your car cooked pretty well. You're going to the semifinals. How big of a job was it to get it back into a fighting trim this morning?
I'd love to sit there and say, oh, we thrashed all night, but my guys thrashed all night. I was out having dinner, you know, with the Red Line guys. But no, it was a big job, and I'm so proud of those guys because every return line, every piece of wiring off of that car, when you come out here and it starts up in the morning, that's good enough. But hey, thanks to Cornwell Tools, Powerade.
Just another one of the great stories this weekend here at the U.S. Nationals.
And that's young Donnie, named for his grandfather, Don Scusa. We get ready now for Pro Stock in the Factory Hot Rods. Kurt Johnson and Larry Morgan have the lane choice on the left side. Over on the right, it's Jake Coughlin and Greg Anderson with the lane choice. The first matchup we're going to see will be Jim Yates and Larry Morgan. Yates, of course, going to the finals last year and losing, but he has met Larry Morgan a total 28 times. The first time they raced was 1991. The last time Larry beat Yates, the finals, back in 1997. Since then, Yates has gone 8-0. Probably just gave him the curse right there. with a 2 beats a 686 with a 7. Both of them go 201 miles an hour, and Larry Morgan is moving on to the semifinals here at the U.S. Nationals. Parker?
With Chris Vandergriff, who yesterday survived a horrific accident. I was called an ambulance chaser this morning by Dick LaHaye. It's great to see you back in the stands, upright. You look good. Tell us what you remember about the crash.
Well, Parker, I appreciate y'all coming up. Yesterday was a wild ride. We'd love to be out there right now. That's what our family's here to do, is Top Fuel Drag Race. Didn't get much of a chance to thank my sponsors for sponsoring us this weekend, so I'd like to tell everybody that's an NHRA fan to take a look at efans.com. It's a motorsports-based website that gives the race fans a much closer approach to the sport itself and a team individually such as ourselves. So I'd love to have them go out there and take a look at efans.com. Yesterday, you know, I was a little nervous. The car hadn't been in the show yet, so we set it on kill, and it felt like it took off really good, just like normal. I'd say a couple hundred feet out there, the front end started coming up when the clutch locked up, and that's the first time since I've got my license that the front end came up in such a way that it did, and I was probably a little late getting off the gas pedal. About the time I saw it coming up, I felt I needed to get out of it. I did, and the wind got underneath it, and after that, we knew we were going on for a ride. But most important thing is I'm still here. I've always been a fan of this sport, whether you're in the car or not. I'm up here enjoying myself with a few cold beers for the day, and we're having a good time.
Coughlin in the left lane takes the win, 681.
681 with a 2:2:01:16. Great run, Jake.
And Gene ran a 687, so Jed, who took out Gene just, a couple weeks ago at Brainerd, does it again here at the U.S. Nationals. He's into the semifinals trying to defend his win from last year. And we're winding down here on our first 2 hours of coverage. Jason Line, teammate to Greg Anderson. This is what he was brought on board to do, because guess who's in the other lane? Number 2 in the points, Kurt Johnson.
Boy, Marty, a lot of pressure here for Jason Line. U.S. Nationals trying to take out Kurt Johnson, the points leader, to help his boss out. Doesn't get hardly any more pressure packed than that.
KJ ran a 681 in the opening round. Jason ran a 684. No contest. Kurt goes 680 at 2:02 as we go to the far end to Bill.
With 2 former U.S. Nationals champions, Jeggy the defending champ, and 681. The car's running okay. It was a little iffy earlier today.
Yeah, we got things sorted out on this Jeg Chevy Cavalier, and we're pretty excited. The Mac Tools U.S. Nationals doesn't get any better than this, and you better bring your A game.
1989 Pro Stock winner here, Larry Morgan. Look at you, still here. Wow.
Well, you know, I'm real happy for Mopar and all my guys, and especially Bob Glidden. This is hometown. We'd sure like to win this race for those guys. And all my guys that work for me work real hard, even out of the team. I'm just happy for all those guys.
Beating that 1989 final.
Time enough for one final pair here. Greg Anderson, the #1 qualifier in the left lane, against Ron Krischer. Greg has beaten Krischer all 3 times that they have faced in 2003. Oh, a 008 for Krischer. Does he have enough grunt? No, 679, low for the round. 2:02, Greg Anderson is moving on. As we get ready for Angel Savoy and Reggie Showers and shoot up some flares, we've got nobody going red. And Angel has been whole shot. Reggie goes 002, 726, and remember, he won the K&N Pro Stock Bike Clash, and if he doubles up, he gets an additional $10,000.
Boy, great job by Reggie Showers. He said 002. That's only 2,000 from perfect, but also only 3,000 from being red. Gave him about a little over 500ths of a second off of the starting line. Obviously, he needed some of that because Angel ran a little bit quicker, 725. But Reggie Showers, 726, along with that 002 light, was enough to get to the finish line first.
First time in 7 meetings that Reggie has beaten Angel. Parker?
George Bryce, bittersweet victory. You won the K&N but you took out your former rider on Shell, but you guys are definitely rocking and rolling.
Oh, man, it was great. Hey, it was bad to have to put on Shell out for the Army team, but thank God Reggie won it, man. Thanks, guys.
Now we go back to the starting line where we've got Sean Gann in the left lane, GT Tonglet over in the right. Gann, of course, the runner-up in 2002 and 2001. And another red. Tonglet and the Harleys are out of here. Fifth red light of the year for GT Tonglet, a 7:27. And again, the Harley goes quicker at 7:25. But our ninth red light of the day. Bill.
Well, back in 2000, Antron Brown had a career year right here at Indy with the Clash win and the race, and you're rolling again today.
How about that? U.S. Army, your troops behind us strong. It was a tough round with the Vance and Hine Harleys. They guys do a lot of hard work fast, but Mark Pizer, Steve Tartaglia, and the U.S. Army behind us, man, this is going to be an awesome day. Hopefully we can have something for Gann next round.
Well, let's skip over here and talk to the points leader, Gino Scali, who just saw Angel Savoy lose, but Sean Gann's still alive, and he's nipping at you.
You know what? Now I understand what it is to be lucky. The first round, after my hand just barely touched the clutch twice, and I double clutched it, and my opponent red light, I was lucky. Now this round, on top end, the motor just took a dump.
But he still won, so the question is, do you believe in omens?
Well, let's take a look at the matchups. The lane choice to Reggie Showers over that man, Gino Scali, by 2/100ths of a second. And in the other semifinal, it'll be Sean Gann over Antron Brown. When we come back, it'll be time for semifinals in Top Fuel. Stay with us. Back here at the U.S. Nationals as we get ready for Top Fuel in the semifinals. Darrell Russell has the lane choice over Kenny Bernstein. That'll be our first matchup. Tony Schumacher with the choice over Scott Kalita. And Russell and Bernstein, they've made a habit of this. The last two races they have come face-to-face. Kenny has won both of those back at Sonoma and at Brainerd. For Darrell Russell, he is in uncharted territory. He has never been to a pro final here at Indy, although he did win Top Alcohol Dragster back in 1997.
It's kind of funny about Darrell Russell. He's been pretty quiet all year. Haven't talked a whole lot about him. Had to rant, by his own admission, they haven't had the kind of year they want, but yet they're still third in the points. That man right there, Kenny Bernstein, he's looking. He wants to win Indy really, really bad. Obviously, he's not in the hunt for the points championship, so winning the U.S. Nationals Championship would be nothing short of fantastic for him. But I tell you, Wayne Dupuis, that man right there, really got Joe Amado's car running pretty well right now.
Well, Bernstein has not been to a final here since 1991. He won that one quickly, Parker.
Pretty special day for tuner Wayne Dupuis. Just found out that his daughter Jessica has delivered his first grandchild, a baby boy. But we don't know what the name is yet. Hopefully it'll bring him good luck.
Uh-oh! Bernstein, for the fourth year in a row, has lost at Indy in the semifinals. Darrell Russell slaps him with a 461. Russell going to his third final here in 2003.
Wow, great job for this team. Team Amado's Wayne Dupuis, Darrell Russell did his job on the lights. Had almost 200ths of a second off the starting line. Good numbers early, but then you're going to see a cylinder go out down track for Darrell, but didn't matter because at that point, Kenny Bernstein had already smoked the tires and gotten out of it because he knew his day was done.
As we take one more look at it, we'll send it to Parker Johnstone.
Marty, for each of the four semifinalists in Funny Car, a win here at the U.S. Nationals has special meaning. For Dean Scusa, he's hoping a win will bring a full-time sponsor. For Tim Wilkerson, it's bragging rights, saying that he beat the best of the best at the biggest race of the year. For Johnny Gray, it would be his first professional victory. What better place to do it than at Indy? But for Gary Detcham, he summed it up the best. He said, it would be simply the highlight of my racing career.
And when you think about that this will be the 500th Funny Car Wally that'll be handed out, pretty significant day.
Boy, that's huge. 500th Wally to a Funny Car champion. That's very, very special. And obviously, any of these guys would love to get that. I can remember when I got my first U.S. Nationals trophy back in 1986. There was no better feeling.
Back to the action on the track. Side-by-side burnout. Scott Kalita in the right lane. Tony Schumacher in the left. More on that one, but let's first go to Bill.
With each succeeding round, it becomes more and more an unlikely U.S. Nationals. Case in point, Darrell Russell right here came in qualified well, but in the second round, beat low qualifier David Baca. Now you beat Kenny Bernstein, and you're going to the final round. Could you have predicted this?
Never. But you know something, at Indy, is how it is. It seems like every year something like this happens. But you know, consistency is what makes you go rounds and wins races. Our whole team right here with DZ and Matco Tools, American Racing Wheels, and all the other guys are helping us. You know, we're wanting to go these rounds to try to help our team. And I tell you, the last run was truly a team effort. When the thing wouldn't go in reverse and all the guys joined in and pushed this thing back together, that's what wins races, is team spirit like that.
Consistency is really what this team is all about, including qualifying this weekend. Amazing.
Back at the starting line, Scott Kalita has never been to a final here at Indy. His last final, Dallas, 1999. Guess who he lost to? You got it. The guy in the other lane, Tony Schumacher.
Boy, he's going to have a tough time. Tony Schumacher, Alan Johnson, that team have had that car running fantastically today. But don't count out Scott Kalita. They make a ton of horsepower over there as long as they can get it hooked up.
Schumacher does it again. 4:52, 326 miles an hour. Kalita ran a 4:54. So now Schumacher has run 4:51, 4:52, and 4:52 in defense of the win he got here last year.
Wow, just unbelievable. And then you add an 0:44 reaction time for Tony Schumacher. He's on his game. The car's on its game. He is going to be very, very tough to beat if they keep doing that. I mean, that car has been flawless since eliminations have started. They ran good qualifying, but boy, they stepped it up a notch in elimination. Even with the cylinder going out just before the finish line, still ran 4:52 at 326 miles per hour.
And, ooh, what a contrast. Let's go to Bill.
Kenny, I don't even want to talk about that run. I just want to tell you that for a long time here, you have embodied class, dignity, style, and performance here at the U.S. Nationals. Long after you're gone, you'll be remembered here.
Well, thank you, Bill. That's very nice. I appreciate the fans out there so much, for all of them praying for Brandon to get well. And obviously, I'm the substitute. He will be back. It's just we tried hard, try the best you can. That's all you can do. Sure, we're disappointed by all means. There's no question. We wanted to win this U.S. Nationals because it probably will be my last time, as we talked before. But appreciate everything, and we'll just go on down to Reading, try it again.
Long live the king.
A lot of the fans would say, hear, hear. Take a look at the lane choice. Think about this. Tony Schumacher's average is 4.522 for all three runs. Funny car coming up next. Gary Densham looking for his first U.S. Nationals, as is everybody. Back here at the Mac Tools U.S. Nationals, we are getting ready for semifinal action in Funny Car, and Johnny Gray, right there on the left lane, will be up against Gary Densham in this first matchup. And you can see Johnny has the lane choice and has decided to go into the left lane. The other matchup will have Dean Scusa and Tim Wilkerson. Remember, Wilkerson had lane choice last time and went into the right lane. It'll be interesting to see what happens there.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, crew chief Jimmy Proc's done a good job. Last one, I mean, one of the key things you have to remember about this racetrack, it's very, very good if you keep it stuck in that black rubber. You can see where it starts, but then down track, if you get that thing off out of that groove, well, you're going to go into tire smoke pretty easily. So it's very, very important for these funny car drivers to keep it stuck. And let me tell you, trying to keep one of these bad boys stuck in the middle of the groove is sometimes pretty tough.
Densham looking to go to back-to-back finals for the second time this year. He did it earlier this year at Phoenix and Gainesville. For Johnny Gray, he's looking to go just to his third career final ever. And Johnny Gray is going to get a shot at his first ever funny car win. 489, 312 miles an hour. You saw Gary Densham fading off into the distance. Let's go to Bill.
Well, you've single-handedly wiped out the Kalita family today. Got any other tricks left?
Yeah, I felt awful bad, too, because I'm a big West Coast chopper fan, Jesse James up there on the starting line, but all in all, for the U.S. Army, going to the finals at Indy, this is such a big race. And again, I'm going to tell you, Alan Johnson is the smartest man on the planet. It's easy to drive a race car when you can get up there and have all the faith that the car's going to go down the racetrack. What a great job. Matco Tools, Gates, Belts, and Hoses, all the people at Forrest Lucas is here at the race with us. So, man, we're just pulling. Everyone here is all obviously behind the soldiers and all that, but this one's for them, man. This is Indy, the biggest one of all of them. That's for America, baby.
Some of the greatest top-fuel drivers in history have never won Indy 3 times. That man is on the verge of doing it.
Our Powerade profile this week is on Jake Coughlin, defending series and event champion. Jake, you know more than anyone the importance of momentum for a driver and a race team. 1 week ago, when this was rained out, you had failed to qualify. You come back 1 week later, you're in the semifinals. Pretty impressive for just a week's difference.
Well, yeah, it really is, and we're real proud of the distance we've come. We went to St. Louis, made some test runs, and the team just pulled together and figured some things out down low, got the car to accelerate, got it to go straight, and capitalize on both. So it's been a win-win for us. We'll have our hands full here in the semis, but we're looking forward to it.
No time off for those who are hungry for victory. Jake Coughlin looking to make it 2 in a row.
Thanks, Parker. And take a look at the crowd that has returned 1 week later for the 49th running of the Mac Tools U.S. Nationals. And boy, they have seen some surprises, some outstanding performances. And we should point out that Johnny Gray was tagged for an oil down, and he is over the limit. So that means he will lose lane choice, unless that man right there also would happen to oil down the track, because Dean Scusa is over the limit as well. Tim Wilkerson over in the right lane again. Lane choice was Scusa's. Scusa took the left side. Tim likes that right lane.
Yeah, I don't think Tim's even worried one bit about being in that right-hand lane. He ran that 482 in the first round. Last round, he actually dropped the cylinder at the hit of the throttle and slowed down to 499, but it was good enough to get him the win. Now, obviously, he wants to be able to get this thing on 8 cylinders. Hopefully, it stays stuck, and he can get the win. But I tell you, Dean Scusa, his crew chief, Brian Karate, they've been doing a great job. That car's been consistent. Been one of the hottest cars on the circuit since the Western Swing. He's going to be tough to beat.
Wilkerson's first ever funny car final was right here at Indy in '97. Scusa's never been to the U.S. Nationals final. Is going back.
486, 318. You're in the final. Got that? 486, 318.
You heard the team telling Tim the good news.
Boy, what a great job for Tim Wilkerson. Dean Scusa had a cylinder out pretty much right after the hit of the throttle, which just cost him the race. Tim Wilkerson on the left-hand side ran real good early. Then they probably took some clutch out to make sure it didn't spin the tires in the middle, but still made a great run at 486 at over 318 miles per hour.
And the lane choice goes to Tim Wilkerson. And let's get an update from Parker on Johnny Gray's oil situation. Track Back brought to you by Suzuki, maker of innovative motorcycles and all-terrain vehicles.
For the third time this year, Johnny Gray and the blue team is going to a final, but this one's special. It's the U.S. Nationals. His first for freshman crew chief Mark Denner and Chris Cunningham. The car has just rolled into the pits. The crew does not know what went wrong on that last run. There was just a lot of smoke, some fire, and they're immediately going to work. This is the most important turnaround this crew has faced all year long. Immediately, they're starting to look for damage because they've got 75 minutes. Normally, they can do it, the turnaround, in just over 40 minutes. You can see the car extensively oiled from stem to stern. This could mean not only the normal engine and clutch servicing, but also a wiring loom change as well.
And that's the last thing you need at this stage.
Well, but the one good thing is he's part of a 3-car team, so basically Johnny Gray's crew can do their normal maintenance. Some of the other guys from the other crew can come over. If there's any problems with wiring looms or fuel lines that need to be replaced, they can do it, so it shouldn't be a problem.
Let's go to Bill.
It's Tim. I don't need no stinking multi-car team Wilkerson going to the final round of the Big Go.
Hey, that's a cool deal, isn't it? I'm telling you what, the whole LRS team, we can't be more excited. We're having more fun than you can imagine. Last run, the old stinker put a hole out at the hit. Hey, we dumped a quart of Powerade in the tank. That took care of her. So, we're here at the Mac Tool race. We're having a great time. Got 2 Mac Tool cars in the final, so whatever happens, so be it. Good time. Thanks, guys.
A guy who cut his teeth in alcohol funny cars here in the Midwest, and boy, what a day if he wins this race.
Certainly would be as the work continues back in Johnny Gray's pit. Pro Stock when we come back to the U.S. Nationals.
Winning Indy is just an awesome moment. It was one awesome moment. To explain that emotion, you almost come to tears, to be honest with you. It's that powerful.
Winning Indy is just tremendous. It's just more emotion, more happiness, more self-satisfaction, I think. It's just more of everything.
We're down to the semifinals in the factory hot rods. Kurt Johnson and Larry Morgan will be coming to the line first. KJ has got the lane choice in that matchup, and then it'll be Greg Anderson and Jeg Coughlin, with Greg having the lane choice there. Well, over in the left lane it is KJ, and in the right lane Larry Morgan. Larry's last Indy final was back in 1992. He lost to Kurt's father, Warren. KJ has 2 Indy finals. He won them both.
Kurt Johnson looking awfully good. Ran 600s quicker in the previous round. I tell you, Larry Morgan's been really good on the lights all day, but Kurt Johnson hasn't been bad either. It's going to be hard for him to get enough advantage to be able to outrun Kurt. He's going to have to come up with some power also.
Morgan beat KJ the last time they met. That was back at the semis in Seattle. Slight advantage to Larry Morgan. But the win light goes to Kurt Johnson. 6.83 seconds, 201 miles an hour. And let's check in with Parker.
Well, Marty, Mike Dunn was absolutely right. The action continues down here in Johnny Gray's Funny Car Pit. And Mike, they've had up to 16 crewmen from the 3 Worsham Funny Car teams attacking this car. At 9 minutes and 30 seconds, they had the supercharger off, intake manifold, cylinder heads, clutch, oil tank, magnetos. And just 30 seconds ago, a new short block was installed. Johnny said at the hit of the throttle he knew something was wrong, but this is the U.S. Nationals. He didn't lift. At 4.5 seconds into that run, a piston came through the bottom of this engine block. But the activity continues. These guys are right on schedule to have it turned around for the finals here at the U.S. Nationals.
Ton of work going on back in the pits as we are on board now with Jeg Coughlin Jr. He'll be in the right lane. Greg Anderson with the lane choice took the left lane.
I tell you, Marty, this is a great matchup. Probably arguably the best driver in the business, Jeg Coughlin I'm talking about. Greg Anderson, he's really stepped up to the plate with his driving this year. He's had a couple miscues. Jeggy knows he's going to have to get a good shot. Greg knows he can't make any mistakes if he's going to want to beat Jeggy, even though he's probably got about a 200th advantage consistently all weekend over Greg Anderson.
The winner of the last 3 U.S. Nationals in Pro Stock are on the line side by side right now. Who's going in? There's Greg. Here we go. The 009 for Jeg. And the win light to Greg. He drives around him. 682 to a 685. 202 miles an hour. Jeg did everything he could. But boy, Greg Anderson, just look at how close it was.
19/10,000th of a second. What a race. Man, I'm bored with Jeggy. He did his job. 009 had almost 300ths of a second on Greg. Just didn't have that performance. As you see that big top end charge by Greg Anderson, over 202 miles per hour to drive around Jeggy and get the win. But I'll tell you what a great side-by-side drag race.
Take a look at the matchup, and the lane choice will go to Greg Anderson over that man right there, Kurt Johnson. Let's go to Bill.
Just asked Kurt how we could run 680 in round 1, 681 in round 2. When the weather was hot, it's cooling off, you went 683, and it wasn't a perfect run.
No, NHRA put a lot of VHT down on the racetrack, and I think the AC Doggo Cavalier just got that tire wadded up just a little bit going into second gear, and it chattered just a little bit, and I could feel it slow down. But hey, good enough for the win. We're having a great day.
Let's call in your former teammate, and now your adversary in the final round, Greg Anderson. That was close.
Wow, what a drag race, but would you expect any different at the Mac Tools U.S. Nationals with Jeg Coughlin in the other lane? Absolutely awesome drag race. I think I was late. I've got to tune my game up against Kurt in the final manner. I'm going to lose, but just to have a shot at the money round in the U.S. Nationals, the Mac Tools U.S. Nationals, and Mac Tools does so much for me. I can't think of a better place to win. Vegas General, thank you so much. Pontiac, what a wonderful race car. And honey, I miss you, baby. I'm sorry you're having a tough time at home. She got her wisdom teeth yanked the other day, and she is in serious pain. She couldn't come this weekend. But I love you, baby, and kids, I love you guys too.
And just as you finish up, we have our 10th foul in Pro Stock Bike. Antron Brown gives it away. A 7:30 by Sean Gann, and Gann is going to his third Indy final, looking for his first ever U.S. Nationals win. Let's check in with Parker.
Well, the action continues down here in the blue Chucker Shucks Cragen pits. You can see they're preparing intake manifolds, looking to see how much damage was caused if they have to change the nozzling for this final round. That'll take about 10 extra minutes. Over on the car, the cylinder heads have been installed on top of that new engine block, as well as the magnetos. And now crew chiefs Mark Denner and Chris Cunningham are looking into the timing box to see what adjustments they might have to make, as well as any repairs.
Thank you, Parker. As we go back out on the starting line, Antron Brown, that was his fourth foul of the year. Gann now in his third straight final. And here comes Reggie Showers looking for the K&N Pro Bike Clash double-up. If he can win this race, he collects the bonus money. And Gino Scali, the points leader, says, I'm going to try and deny him.
Yeah, Gino would definitely like to, but he's been having trouble. He's been hurting a lot of engines lately. He's got to be careful. Reggie's been looking awfully good. This should be a good matchup.
Showers had his first whole shot win of the season last round. And the win light to Reggie Showers. It was no contest. 723 to a 742, 180 miles an hour. Scali had told us he was having those motor problems, trying to nurse it on through, and I guess it just gave up a little too much here.
Yeah, Gino had almost 200ths of a second off the starting line, but I'll tell you, Reggie Showers just had that horsepower from George Bryce. 723 in the heat of the day. That is a great pass.
Sean Gann, who won the K&N Clash 2 years ago, lost to Reggie Showers in the semifinals of it this year. Now you can keep him from the $10,000 bonus in the U.S. Nationals final.
Well, you know that's certainly what I'm trying to do. That's one of my good friends out here. I believe we hurt one on this last lap. We hurt one the lap before that, and we're going to go back and put these Mac tools to use, changing these motors, and try and get some of this payback going.
You know the story on Reggie Showers. First career final round this year in Joliet. Low qualifier for the first time in his career. You won the K&N Clash for the first time, and now you could win the U.S. Nationals. Can you handle all this?
Bill, I'm taking it one step at a time. I'm telling you, this, like I said before, is a dream come true when I won the K&N Clash. Here I am, final round, man. I can't even talk to the U.S. Nationals. You know, it's the 49th and a half running. All the prosthetic design is here, man. Got to thank Star Racing, Snap-on Tools, Dayton Artificial Limb Clinic. Love you guys, man. Mom, Dad, I'm coming home, baby, with a big check.
Yeah, with his pockets lined. We'll see if he can do it.
With contingencies, if he wins, Showers could take home about $40,000 for the weekend. And he'll have lane choice in the final here against Sean Gann at the Mac Tools U.S. Nationals.
More than anything, I can't wrap it up in one word, but, you know, to me, Indianapolis is drag racing.
The most outstanding race that we have on our circuit and has been for years and years. Our Daytona 500, our Indianapolis 500 for NHRA drag racing.
The Indianapolis race, to me, is kind of like our Super Bowl.
132 racers converged on Indy 11 days ago. Now 8 remain standing with a chance to win the U.S. Nationals. In Top Fuel, the final will be Joe Amato's driver Darrell Russell against Tony Schumacher, looking to go for 3 event wins here. In Funny Car, Johnny Gray and Tim Wilkerson going to square off. Neither one in the top 10. It could make their season. Kurt Johnson and Greg Anderson challenging in the Pro Stock points. And in Pro Stock Bike, Reggie Showers looking to double up. Sean Gann looking to win. So as we get ready for the Pro Stock Bike final for the 3rd year in a row, this man is in it here at Indy, Sean Gann. But there has been some question raised by Sean about his motor after that last run in the semifinals. Nothing has gone wrong for that man. He can win the double-up bonus. It's only been done by 3 other people. Antron Brown, Matt Hines, Jim Bernard, but Reggie Showers, a double amputee. Wow, has his career turned around since hooking up with George Bryce. I can feel the tension. I don't know about you.
Hey, it's the final round of the U.S. Nationals, Marty. I mean, a lot of tension in the air. Sean Gann, he needs his bike's been running a little bit slower each run. Reggie Showers been real consistent.
3 100ths advantage for Reggie. And the win light to Reggie Showers in a hole shot. He's done it. He's won his first ever Wally at the U.S. Nationals. And George Price has just about taken everybody he's ever had in his fold to the finals and won here at Indy. And Reggie has done it. About $40,000 in a payday. Look at the margin. It is 1/1000th of a second on the clock. Unbelievable. What a story this has been.
Boy, Marty, what a great drag race. Reggie Showers, like you said, 0.03 of a second off the starting line, and he needed every bit of it because Sean Gann was coming on strong. That interchange didn't seem to hurt him on the performance. He was a little bit off on the light, though, and Reggie Showers got a great win.
Third year in a row, Sean is the runner-up. Let's go to Bill.
You already had
Reggie Showers.
Thank you.
I remember not so long ago, I would see you come to the races, and you would fail to qualify, and you would say, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. On a hole shot, you just won the biggest race in the sport.
Oh, thank you, God. Oh, Bill. Man, I don't know what to say. I've watched my heroes like John Myers and Dave Schultz do this, and I've been in the stands, videotaping. This is for all of the people to help me. Prosec Design, Snap One, Star Racing. Who else is in there, Donnie? I'm losing my voice. Everybody in America's Georgia, all of my future sponsors next year. This is just a taste of what's to come. NHRA fans, you guys help me too. You guys pay good money to come see us race. Thank you so very much. Love y'all. This is awesome.
And you were coming on strong at the end, but it wasn't quite enough.
Well, I'm so happy for that guy. I mean, he won the dash and won this deal, the double up. I just got to thank God for getting me to the final. Mac Tools, Technicoat Companies. What about that guy? He's amazing.
I can't believe I'm losing my voice. Oh, man.
Sean Gann's fourth hole shot loss of the year. He's going to remember it. Let's take a look now at Pro Stock. Greg Anderson, and there is his road to the final. Talk about points. Well, if he wins, he'll go up 176 over Kurt Johnson. If Kurt can win over in that right lane, he'll cut it to 136.
Yeah, but right now Kurt Johnson's not even thinking about the points. He's thinking about winning the U.S. Nationals, and this is the way it should be. The number 1 and 2 car in the points, the two best cars all year long. Been running the big numbers consistently at the biggest race of the year. Both of these guys want this race bad.
Greg won it back in 2001. Kurt won it twice, in 96 and again in 97. Greg is already pre-staged. Kurt taking his time, bringing it into the top beam. Who's going to go in first? Clock is running. Greg's in. Here we go. Red light, KJ. Kurt Johnson runs a 680, matching the 680 by Greg Anderson, but by 1/100th of a second. His second foul of 2003, and he loses.
Boy, tough break. This would have been a great race. I mean, Kurt knew he needed to trim that tree pretty close. Greg Anderson makes a ton of horsepower, but he missed it by 100th of a second. He was actually quicker to 60 feet to the 330, but then Greg Anderson actually ran a little bit faster at the 8th mile, and then obviously that big speed of over 203 miles per hour at the other end, but it was all for naught for Kurt Johnson anyways. He gave it away on the starting line.
Greg Anderson is unbeatable on Kurt Johnson. He's 4-0 in finals, Bill, against KJ.
Overall now this year, he's 7-1. And Greg Anderson, last week you told me that it was so important to win this race for the second time because if you only win it once, the question remains, was it a fluke? You just proved it wasn't.
You know what? I knew it wasn't, but nobody else did. And hopefully that erases every doubt in everybody's mind that we are for real and we can race. What a race. Who else would you want to be in the final with is Kurt. That's the way it's supposed to be, I guess. Man, we dug down hard, and obviously he dug down a little bit too hard. Got the red ball, but you're in the final at Indy, man. You got to go for it. I got so many people to thank. My engine guys. Have I got an engine program or what? Absolutely the best out there. I drove by cars all day long, getting slapped on the tree. So many people to thank. Ken Black Jr., Judy Black, Corey Black. Thank you so much for the opportunity to win Indy for the second time. Is so cool. The Mac Tools U.S. Nationals. I gotta love Mac Tools. I love them so much. They do so much for me. Pontiac, thank you, Fred Simmons and all the gang at Pontiac. Best race car out here, bar none. Redline Oil, thank you very much. It's endless. So many people to thank, and they all do so much for me, and they got me to U.S. Nationals. Honey, I'm on my way home, kids. I love you.
Parker's with KJ.
Kurt Johnson was the #1 qualifier, but this guy, Greg Anderson's becoming a thorn in your side in the finals.
Yeah, he's been running fast, and, you know, that red light in the final, you got to push it to every extent you can, trying to win for AC Delco Chevrolet. And, you know, my whole gang, Kevin Horst and Joe Cowell, driving the car back to Atlanta and testing and coming here qualifying #1. Everybody did their job. My wife back in Atlanta, Georgia, Kathy, Connor, Aaron, Jarrett, Mom, she's at home this weekend. And, you know, these rainouts are kind of a drag, but, hey, runner-up's not bad.
Except at the U.S. Nationals. You want to win it. Hey, a lane change. As you're looking at Johnny Gray's road to the finals, Tim Wilkerson has lane choice, and he has now moved over into the left lane instead of the favored right lane. What do you think?
Well, I've heard mention of some bald spots in the right-hand side, and what that means is the rubber is pulling up from the pro stock and some of the other sportsman classes to where it doesn't have that good rubber right there on the start line. And normally you have to move over to one side or the other, so they feel like the left lane, everybody's been choosing the left lane, and the groove does go straighter down that lane. And, you know, Tim, in qualifying, made some good runs in that left-hand lane, so I think he'll be fine.
No matter what happens, one of these two is going to win their first ever Mac Tools U.S. Nationals. Tim Wilkerson makes the right choice. 484, 321. Look at the celebration as he has won in funny car here at the Mac Tools U.S. Nationals.
Man, what a great job for that team. Are they excited or what? To win the U.S. Nationals. I mean, they've been struggling all year, going out early, but they started showing signs of Brainerd making it to the final. You see the header come flying off at the other end. But at that point, Tim Wilkerson doesn't care because he just ran 484, 321 miles per hour, and he's taking the trophy home for the U.S. Nationals. What a great job.
We've talked about it before. You can have the most dismal season on record, but if you win here at Indy, everything is so much better. Let's go to Bill.
Tim Wilkerson, the press handouts will say that the 500th national event trophy for a funny car was given away today, but that doesn't matter to you. The fact that your name is on it is what counts.
I don't know what to tell you. We're so happy. Had so many sponsors over the years. Scott Negley from NEC Electric, and you know, Tony Merritt here from Mac Tools, great sponsor. Fred Simmons back there at Pontiac. Sioux City Truck and Trailer, Bill Rush. I tell you what, trying not to be too emotional. Guys from Levi Ray Shout, they stood behind this car, and just trying to make them as proud to be associated with me. Dick Levi, thank you, I love you. As I am to be associated with them, you know. It's a hard deal. Thank you, guys.
There's not a person here disappointed to see Tim Wilkerson in the winner's circle.
Get your trophy there, too.
Johnny Gray's third final of the year, but most importantly, it was here at the U.S. Nationals. Johnny, that was a close race. Can your first victory be far off?
I don't know, you know. We keep getting to the final sooner or later. Somebody in the other lane's going to mess up and let us win one. You know what I mean?
Somehow managed to put a smile on his face after losing the biggest race of the year. Take a look at Tony Schumacher and his road to the final. He is looking to go back-to-back here at the U.S. Nationals, defend successfully the race he won in 2002. Darrell Russell in his first ever U.S. Nationals Top Fuel final. And that pounding that you hear is probably the lump in his throat and his heartbeat, because you remember what you were like in your first U.S. Nationals final?
I was really, really nervous in the final. And I'd driven very well all day, and then that final round, boy, I was just nervous as heck. And I'm sure it's the same thing for both of these drivers, even though, you know, Tony Schumacher's won this thing a couple times. Let's talk strategy here. Alan Johnson, I mean, basically, he's just going to go up there and he's going to leave everything alone. His driver's been on the game. They've been very consistent, low 450s, just make the adjustment to compensate for the air changes. Darrell Russell on the head of Wayne Dupuis. They need to step that thing up a little bit to get some performance out of it. Hopefully they don't smoke the tires.
Tony Schumacher goes low. 4:49, 3:28. That is a career best ET, and he joins elite company. He becomes the 5th top fuel racer to win at least 3 or more championships here at the Mac Tools U.S. Nationals. Take a look at this run. This guy has been on a rail.
Man, all day long, Alan Johnson's been so aggressive early. 8:34, 2:12 to 3:30, but this time he ran the big speed in the middle and on the top end over 328 miles per hour to get that 4:40 elapsed time. What a great job.
Listen to the names of the elite that he joins. Joe Amato, Don the Snake Prudhomme, Don Garlitz, and Gary Beck. Each of those has won this event 3 or more times in top fuel. Tony Schumacher is now number 5.
I'll tell you, this was just a great pass. I mean, 273 miles per hour in the 328 on the other end. That car was trucking Alan Johnson. He left it pretty much the same early in the run, but he stood on the other end and made a great pass.
Bill, he saved the best for last.
Oh, I mean to tell you, Tony Schumacher, it was at this race in 1998 you debuted your top fuel team with your dad. 5 years later, you're a 3-time U.S. Nationals champion.
I'll tell you what, that is truly unbelievable. That is owed to Alan Johnson. I mean, that was a big call. Go up there and run like that. Qualify with a 53. Go out and run a 51, 52, 52, and a 49. For the U.S. Army, all the people that missed the race, being a rainout, we lost General Cabin. He stayed home. He couldn't make it out here. Went to San Antonio. He's watching it on TV tonight. General Keene, all the people, General Rochelle, the people that couldn't come back, we love you, man. We appreciate everything you do for us. Thank you very much. Atco Tools, Gates, Belts, and Hoses. Army of One. It's what it's all about.
Tony receives a trophy from Tony Merrimack Tools. This quick historical footnote. Alan Johnson tuned Gary Selzy to the win here in 1998 in Top Fuel 2 years after he lost his brother Blaine in U.S. Nationals qualifying. Parker?
It's been an emotional day for Darrell Russell. He got to his first U.S. Nationals final, but you lost to a 4:49. I don't know how you answer to that.
You really don't. I mean, Tony and all his team over there did a fantastic job. They deserve this race this weekend. You know, I feel real fortunate to be in the final round. We had our setbacks early on during qualifying, but we got it all worked out. But all these guys in our team did such a tremendous job. It was truly a team effort this weekend, and we got DZ on board, Matco Tools, Valvoline, and Keystone. We just want to thank them all for being here this weekend. Thanks a lot.
Stay with us. We'll wrap it up here at the 49th running of the Mac Tools U.S. Nationals when we return to Indianapolis Raceway Park. Ooh, what a day.